one more question, Madam Chair. Has there been a fiscal impact study done for the water operators?
Yes, there's zero impact.
Is that in this information?
No, sir, it's given to me over to the Legislative Bureau. I can get it if you need it, sir.
Representative Barry, is that, we done, Representative Pennartz?
Representative Mauch, I have a problem with this section on findings. It says here, the General Assembly, of which you and I are, that the General Assembly has found that public policy discussions of the prospects of adding lithium to the public water. Mr. Mauch, I've been a member of this body for 4 years. I've heard no such discussions of public policy discussions of this by the General Assembly. I wondered if you could direct me specifically to written documentation that those public discussions occurred by this General Assembly.
Are you talking about, thank you. Are you talking about the same line 4 on page 2? What section are you talking about?
I'm talking in your bill,
Okay. Where at?
under page 1, line 30. You use the term findings. Line 31, the General Assembly finds that. And then you proceed to make a series of statements. On page 2 specifically, line 4 through line 8. My question to you, Representative, is what specific written documentation do you have, or you can present to us, or at a later date present to us, that the General Assembly, the 86th or the 87th General Assembly, or the current Assembly, has so found that through public discussions, your statement there about adding lithium and other human mood imbalances, etc., statin drugs to our water. What written, can you show me that documentation? Or does it even exist?
Well, in 1988, the environment, the EPA.
No, let me stop you, Representative Mauch. Did you understand my question?
Well,
The 86th General Assembly or the 87th General Assembly or the current Assembly, you make a statement here that we as a General Assembly have found that this statement here that you're making is that one that we found to be so true. Now, if that is true, I'm asking you for where is the written documentation that occurred by these two General Assemblies?
well,
Because that's what your statement makes, that we have found such. Where's the written documentation of such?
it does not state Arkansas, Representative Pennartz.
Well, Representative Mauch, maybe you don't understand your own bill. If you go back to page 1, line 30, findings. You understand what the term finding means?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Line 31, the General Assembly. You understand what that means?
Yes.
That's you and me and the prior General Assemblies. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. Then you make a statement, essentially, that says, that we found this to be true. And what I'm asking you is for the simple documentation that, in fact, the 86th General Assembly or the 87th General Assembly did so. Now, did they or did they not?
Well, the General Assembly did not, no, ma'am.
All right, that answers my question. So, with regard to line 4 through line 8, that is an inaccurate or untrue statement. Is that correct? By your own admission.
I don't find that incorrect, no, ma'am. I'll let my.
Well, I think,
First off,
well,
this
just a
bill
minute,
has not been
ma'am.
enacted.
Point
Sorry.
of order. Madam Chair, I'm still directing my questions toward the representative.
Yes.
I have not directed any questions to the other witness.
Yes, Representative Pennartz, and if we'll honor that for sure, and if you'll, kind of get to the point with that.
I think that by his own admission, Madam Chair, Mr. Mauch has said there is no documentation. So I find fault with your findings. And until the point at which you can provide that documentation that through some resolution or act that this General Assembly did in fact do what you said to do, lines 4 through 8 are inaccurate or at very least untrue. So, Mr. Mauch, I appreciate your presentation of this bill, but I would like to think that when you present a bill to this committee, this Committee of Public Health, that you bring us a bill that does not contain inaccuracies. Thank you, Mr. Mauch.
Thank you. Representative Pennartz, we're discussing this bill right now, and this is for future. This is for the future of adding drugs to this, or to the water. And I can give you documentation from the British Journal of Psychiatry and other information that I have. But the General Assembly, I guess, this is a statement that we gave up, the EPA gave up its authority over us, and then we enact our own laws on this. Or we're capable of doing that.
Okay, Representative Mauch, I think she's asked the question, you've answered it, and I appreciate that. Let's go on to the next question. Representative Gaskell.
I had read an article, it's been about 3 years ago now, in the New England Journal of Medicine about the addition of lithium to water. Lithium carbonate is a powerful antidepressant. I could go along with fluoridation, but lithium, hell, that's dangerous.
I agree.
Yeah, whatever we can, let's get better control of that. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Representative Mayberry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually have 2 or 3 questions for Representative Mauch. You say that the EPA gave the rights to the states to be able to address this issue back in 1988, I believe you said. My first question is, can you describe for us a little bit how other states have responded to this? Is it similar in nature? Is it similar in scope?
It's just like Arkansas, they set their own standards.
So those could vary from state to state. And are there any that are similar in nature to what you were proposing here?
No.
Is there, we talk about the different possible additives to the water. Is there anything in your bill that prohibits specific things, or is it simply a requirement to identify what those are?
This bill does not take a position pro or con on anything they're putting in water. We just want the manufacturer to declare what they're putting in water.
And my last question is regarding the different water associations and the water system operators. Have you had discussions with them regarding how much or any of a burden it may be upon them to be able to implement these additional regulations, and what sort of feedback have you had?
I've got 2 letters on hand with me right now, and they're both under positive. They support this bill.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further questions, we have